everybody, Gabby here, and welcome to today's episode of A Battle a Day. Now, it's been a while since I've really done any content creation, thanks to work, but we are here on a new day in Series 8. So I'm going to show you a couple of teams today, just because they're really the same team. It's just two different takes on it. And both of these teams are inspired by the winner of Joe UX9's tournament over the weekend that I got to commentate. So if you haven't watched that yet, I definitely recommend you check it out. I also ran production for it. It was a lot of fun. I only messed up like 2 times, so that was pretty good. On the production, I haven't listened back to my commentary yet, and quite frankly, I don't know if I ever will, but that's not what we're here to discuss today. So the team that won the tournament, not surprising to me, is what has been colloquially referred to as TornOgre or TORNADUS KYOGRE. You take the Torn from the Tornadus and the Ogre from the Ogre, and you... Yeah, anyways. This team did very well throughout the 2019 season as well, and that was the last format where we had access to these restricted Pokemon, so it comes as no surprise that this team right off the bat finished strong in a tournament. Now, while I don't know the exact team that Giovanni used to win, I do know his moves and his items, so I kind of took those and I took my sort of spin on everything, and I ended up with these Pokemon. So real quick, if I can just hop over to the left of the screen. So we have a Tornadus with Hurricane, Icy Wind, Taunt, and Tailwind. Tailwind, basically the whole goal of this team is to make sure the Kyogre is faster than whatever your opponent has, and then go for super duper powerful Mystic Water boosted water spouts in the rain. So one way you can get that speed control is via Tornadus with Tailwind. You could also go for a Dynamax here and Max Airstream. Really depends on what kind of team your opponent has. It has Mental Herb because Whimsicott is technically faster than Tornadus, and if you're looking at what's in my box, you might know what Gabby's take on this is, but Whimsicott is actually technically faster than Tornadus and can outspeed and taunt, so this guarantees you get the Tailwind up. Now, you could run a different item. I would argue if you were in a mirror situation, like Tornadus versus Tornadus or Whimsicott versus Tornadus, you probably don't want to bring Tornadus anyways, but it's here. This was what was on the team sheet, so that's what I put. So the next Pokemon is Regieleki with Magnet. As you can see, this Regieleki knows Thunder, Electro Web, Volt Switch, and Protect. The Thunder is a Gabby special just because I find that if you're running a rain team and you have space for Thunder, getting that extra base power is nice, and Volt Switch is basically the same as a Thunderbolt anyways. In the tournament, this Regieleki did have Thunderbolt. I don't know if this is going to come back to haunt me or not, but this is what I like to put. Electro Web also there for speed control, so as you can imagine, you could send out Regieleki Kyogre, Electro Web, Water Spout. Next on the team is Incineroar. No surprises here, but I actually went and dug up a couple of old EV spreads from the Ultra Sun series, or from the Sun series as well in 2019. And this Incineroar is a bulky Incineroar inspired by Colin Hires' winning team from, oh goodness, what regional was that? Can y'all remember? Like, we had regionals at one point. I don't know. He published a team report. I will link it in the YouTube description down below. He won a regional with a Tornadus. I don't know if it was TornOgre or not, but no, because it was Xerneas and Groudon. Anyways, the team had a bulky Kartana and a bulky Incineroar on it, so I took the EV spreads from those because I figured they'd probably still be good in this format. Incineroar also has Parting Shot instead of U-Turn and Snarl over Knockoff, so just trying to update it to fit the meta better that we have right now. And next we have a Assault Vest Kartana, same thing. This is a EV spread done by Colin. I really like bulky Kartana in general right now in 2021. And Aerial Ace plus the Dynamax gives you another form of speed control here. So I've been finding that I tend to Dynamax the Kartana the most when I play this team, but I haven't quite gotten into the groove of it yet, so I don't know if that's like ideal or not, but it just feels right, so we're going with that. Here's the star of the show. This is a Kyogre with Mystic Water and Drizzle, surprising nobody. Water Spout, Origin Pulse, Ice Beam, and Protect. I personally would actually put Scald over Origin Pulse just because of the accuracy issues, but I want to try this because this is what won the tournament, and, you know, why not be a little bit uncomfortable when you're just laddering endlessly? It's not like an Origin Pulse miss is going to cost you anything. But the spread that I used for this Kyogre was a bulky spec spread from 2019 that I found on the Victory Road website. So it's not max special attack. It is max speed because it does have to be max speed to outspeed opposing Regieleki under Tailwind. You can like shave a couple EVs off of that, but I decided everybody's probably just going to be lazy and 252 it, so I might as well just go for the speed tie. But the special attack is not max. It's kind of bulky split between HP, defense, and special defense. Again, I'm not really sure how well this is going to apply now, but I want a bulky spread on paper because I feel like I have a bit of wiggle room when it comes to like how much damage this Kyogre does. Like, I'd much rather have 2 turns of Water Spout or like 1 turn of Water Spout plus an Origin Pulse than just 1 turn of Water Spout. So we'll see if it works. If not, we'll just go back to 252. It's not that hard to retrain a Pokemon. And last but not least, we have a Regenerator Amoonguss with Focus Sash, Rage Powder, Sludge Bomb, Spore, and Protect. Standard Amoonguss. Redirection for Kyogre, so that way you can ensure that those water spouts are as powerful as possible for as long as possible. The team itself, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. Make sure Kyogre's the fastest thing and press water spout. Now, I also improved this team with a team I like to call TornOgre ++. And I swapped out the Tornadus for a Whimsicott. Now, this is a personal preference / opinion I've held all the way since 2011, believe it or not. But in a format where both Whimsicott and Tornadus are viable, I always prefer Whimsicott because I want to be faster and I want to have that taunt option. Now, unfortunately, we know that these Tornadus are holding Mental Herb, so like Taunt's not going to be as amazing as it would have been otherwise. But getting Moonblast to do super effective damage against Grimmsnarl or Fighting-type Pokemon or random Dark-type Pokemon, and then having access to a potential Helping Hand Tailwind setup here is really awesome. I might swap the Sash and the Koba Berry around on the Amoonguss and the Whimsicott because I'm not really sure which one's going to go where. But for now, we're starting off with the Sash on the Amoonguss because that was what won the tournament, and Koba on Whimsicott. So, ta-da! So yeah, these are the teams that we're going to feature today on here. I think we're going to start off with the Whimsicott variant because I'm quite frankly more excited to play this version than I am the Tornadus. But throughout the week, I want to do maybe like 1 battle with Whimsicott, 1 battle with Tornadus, and then on Friday, if I have extra time, maybe 1 with each. I say that as if I ever have extra time. This past week has been crazy. I don't know how many of y'all have ever gone through a design proposal process, especially in like the tech sphere, but it's a lot of writing and a lot of just like staring at what you wrote and just being like, I hate this. I don't know how to make this better, but I hate this. So, unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be pretty straightforward. So we have a team consisting of Dracovish, Magmortar, which admittedly is a bit of a deep cut. Nidoking, Rillaboom, Urshifu, I'm assuming the single strike form, just given that there's already a water type Pokemon on this team, but you never know. And Electivire. So some deep cuts. You don't really see Magmortar and Electivire at all on teams. But given that my opponent does have a Rillaboom, and could potentially Grassy Glide Kyogre and just make everything very troublesome for me. I'm going to lead Regieleki, Incineroar, and then bring Kyogre and actually Kartana. Yeah, let's not bring Amoonguss to this. Let's bring Kartana in the back. So we're going to try and play this in a way where we just don't have to face off against the Rillaboom with Kyogre, since that is one of the Pokemon that I've noticed just really is an issue for this team. Maybe not so much on the TORNADUS variant, because you can just Hurricane in the rain and just, like, you know, do that thing. But, okay, yeah, no, this is bad. So we have an Electivire and a Rillaboom lead for my opponent. So Electivire, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, has an ability called Motor Drive, which means it will speed up, or it'll get a speed boost every time an electric move makes contact with it. Fortunately, it's not like Lightning Rod, where it will retarget, so I can safely Volt Switch here for some chip on Rillaboom before I, you know, get out. But I don't... Actually, no, the Rillaboom didn't set up grassy terrain. Huh. Alright, well, anyways, my goal here is to Volt Switch, stop the Rillaboom from doing anything this turn, and then send in Kartana next turn to Dynamax and Airstream, and, you know, just do all the Assault Fest Kartana things. It looks like my opponent is going for the Dynamax on their Electivire, which is good that they're doing that now, because that means I have a better chance of having Kyogre, like, not have to deal with this. So, and it looks like no fake out from that Rillaboom either. So, interesting sets here. This might not be a VGC team. I should have maybe laddered a bit before just popping on here, but I was like, you know what? Everybody's so pumped about the, like, legendary Pokemon. Of course people will have teams ready. Like, they can just Dynamax Adventure and Gold Bottle Cap and everything will be fine. And it's that's not apparently the case. So yeah. Anyways, alright, so it looks like my opponent is boosting up their special defense. That's fine. I want to... I don't even know if it makes sense to go for, like, the Dynamax here. I kind of want to do a Steel Spike. I guess if I go for Airstream into the Rillaboom, though, that'll also give me an attack boost because it'll be a knockout. So let's go ahead and do that. And then at the end of the turn, we're going to Parting Shot the Electivire to send in Kyogre. And then the turn after that, no, actually that would be a bad idea. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is I'm still glad I Parting Shotted. The goal here is to get the Electivire's attack as low as possible because it is a physical attacker. But I think I might just send in Regieleki and then either attack whatever comes in for the Rillaboom or just switch back Incineroar to cycle those Intimidates. If you go back and watch the VOD from Joe's tournament, you'll notice that Intimidate cycling is really big right now in the metagame in general. It's probably one of the more consistent ways to whittle down a Zacian, and Zacian is the other Pokemon that's super popular, and we'll probably be focusing on that team next week. So to get into the habit of cycling Intimidates like this and, you know, switching in something just to immediately switch it out because you know that you want to get that -1 attack drop on the opposing side of the field is a really good habit to get into. So just something to keep in mind, and something that could have been a bit more optimized there. Though I stand by going for the Airstream, is that I think after the Airstream, the Incineroar actually outsped the Regieleki. But that's also making the assumption that my opponent has a 31 Speed IV Regieleki and maybe trained it, which... Okay, so given that my opponent did send in Dracovish, we're going to go ahead and Intimidate again. And I'm going to go for a Max Overgrowth into that slot, just so I can get the residual healing set up for when Kyogre does come out onto the field. Because Regieleki didn't get KO'd because of the Parting Shot, excuse me, and the Intimidate cycling, that means we can come in later and go for an Electro Web to ensure that we outspeed. So it is a little bit dangerous that I'm just ignoring the Electivire for all these turns, and it could certainly get a critical hit at some point in time, but I'm going to go on the offensive with it next turn, potentially when I can flinch something so Kartana doesn't have to worry about taking damage, or potentially when I'm at +2. When I'm at +2. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was going to be a KO on the Dracovish. I was kind of hoping it would be. I was also wondering if there was like a focus sash or something, but nah. Nah, next turn we fake out Leaf Blade the Electivire. We might actually win this without Kyogre, which would make me feel a little bit better about this, because one thing that always is interesting about these formats where restricted Pokemon are allowed is that if you run into somebody who's not playing a restricted Pokemon on their team, it can just feel very one-sided. Another approach I could have taken to this match, if I had realized that the Rillaboom wasn't going to go for the Grassy Glide and, you know, all that fun stuff, would have been leading Whimsicott or TORNADUS and KYOGRE and just tailwinding, and yeah. So we're going to go for the KO on Electivire while also flinching the Urshifu. It is the the multi-strike form, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it looks like my opponent is just going to forfeit. So yeah, that happened. But we didn't have to rely on KYOGRE, which means it was ultimately a fair game. So I do want to take a peek. I'm just curious. Oh, okay. Mystic Water Dracovish. Okay, that's kind of cool. Specs Magmortar. All right. Poison Barb Nidoking. Okay. Miracle Seed Rillaboom with Overgrow. Okay, yeah, so he didn't have access to Fake Out, and he doesn't have the hidden ability, unfortunately. So I think this is probably just an indication that maybe they don't have enough for the ability capsule, or maybe they want Overgrow instead of something else. I don't know. Also, a lack of Protect on this team, so hey Tom, if you're out there, I would definitely consider dropping like Fire. Oh, this is actually Specs, so I guess that doesn't matter as much. I would definitely suggest trying to fit some Protects on here. Oh, you got one. In addition to maybe substituting Dracovish for a Mystic Water Kyogre, because that's what the metagame has become. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I'm sorry I don't have time to record another game, but I will be streaming tonight on Twitch starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to see TornOgre or TornOgre++ in action, please make sure to stop by. I really do appreciate it. Let me know in the comments down below if you're having fun with Series 8 so far, or if you watched Joe's tournament, what you thought of my commentary. Constructive criticism is always welcome. It really helps me grow, both as a content creator, as a commentator, and as a Gabby. So, thanks everybody for watching. I am going to go get started with work. I'll see you later, and if not, have an amazing day. Thanks everybody.